Okay.
Just happens to be.
Of course, my first question before you divulged all that was one of our kids on?
Right? Hi. I made it. Yes. Perfect timing. I feel like I haven't seen you forever.
I know. Well, you didn't go to the meeting on Thursday.
I didn't go to diversity leadership. Yeah. I had full intentions, but I didn't make it.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to all of you joining us here this evening. This is November 18, 2024. This is a regularly scheduled board meeting for the Marshtown Community School District. We'll do introductions for the board members here. Starting to my right, we have Zach Wall and Sarah Faltis. To my left, Karina Hernandez, Maria Morales, and Leah. Here at the center table is Randy Denham, our board secretary, and to my left is Dr. Theron Schutte, the superintendent of schools. I am Sean Heitman, the board president, and we've got two of our student school board representatives here this evening, Caitlin Yepez Ramirez and Legay Paw. We've got a pink sign-up sheet there on the speakers table for anybody who wants to speak to or address the board during public comment. You will be given 5 minutes to address the board. Please understand that Iowa law prohibits the discussion of specific employees of the school district or their job performance. Also, in accordance with board policy, board members will not respond to comments so that we can ensure that we comply with open meeting laws. And with those items out of the way, would you please all join me in reading the mission statement of the Marshalltown Community School District? We develop learners who have the knowledge, skills, and positive mindset to successfully pursue a meaningful future through personalized learning experiences. And please stand as you're able and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes to the agenda tonight?
Well, there are not.
Then is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Faltis, Stanley, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Shauna, are you doing the recognitions tonight?
I am.
All right.
Filling in for Abby. I'm going to ask that Heidi Williams and Anel Garza come forward. What? I'm sorry. And I don't know who else is here. Okay. And Michelle, do you want to bring forward? Yep. The representatives with you as well. You. All right, well, we are very honored to be able to bring Heidi forward. She has received the first annual Jesse Binford Advocate for Youth Award. Anel, Dr. Schutte, and I were able to attend a very special evening where she was honored in the Binford House. And we know that Heidi has been here with us several times, showcasing some of the excellent work she does as our counselor at Woodbury Elementary. We are super proud to be able to share that with you. She was our first recipient. Do you want to say anything? This is my first time too with recognitions. But really, we know that Heidi, not only at our school at Woodbury Elementary, at the district, represents youth, but she's also been an incredible foster parent as well. So we just really could not say enough wonderful things about her, and she is maybe being a little shy. Do you wanna
Michelle may have something to add
Oh,
there.
yeah. Would you like to share? Sure.
And introduce your guests.
Okay, so I have with me Joanne Nevin and Nancy Arney representing the Marshalltown Federation of Women's Clubs, which owns Binford House. And this award has been initiated to honor a person in our community who exhibits the qualities of youth advocacy and family support that Jessie Binford, who donated the home, lived in her career, working at Hull House in Chicago with Jane Addams. And so our call for nominations was for any Marshall County person who works or lives in Marshall County that exhibits those qualities. And we were more than delighted with the response. We had several wonderful nominees, but this year's clear awardee is Heidi Williams, and we couldn't have been more honored to have her at Binford House at that dinner. Another person in attendance was invited by Joanne Nevin, and her name is Glenda Barton, and she was an elementary school teacher and counselor at Franklin Elementary, and she was the first certified school counselor in the state of Iowa. And so that was a really, really neat introduction to make. So we're really grateful for everything Heidi does for our community, and we hope to continue this work in the future. So all the previous nominees will be retained for consideration, and this was an effort between the Marshalltown Chamber of Commerce, Marshalltown Area United Way, Federation of Women's Clubs, and the Historical Society of Marshall County, who I also represent this evening. So.
Nell, do you have anything to add?
No, we are very grateful for the opportunity to nominate Heidi and many of the others that were nominated, but I mean, I knew Heidi would win, come on. It was fantastic to learn about Jessie Binford and her work that she accomplished in her life. So just to be able to compare Heidi to someone to her caliber was amazing, and it was great to be able to honor her name in Heidi's presence today as we speak. And so Heidi does really do fit the mold here as we speak, and I'm very proud of her. So it's a good way to showcase what wonderful things that she's doing for our community, not just Woodbury. So thank you. That's it. No questions. We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, it's also American Education Week, so as we're approaching Thanksgiving and a time of gratitude, we want to make sure that we celebrate the American Education Week and express our gratitude for the dedicated professionals who make a difference in the lives of our students every day. We have bus drivers, we have a multitude of stakeholders, cafeteria staff, paraeducators, administrators, teachers. We're thankful for all the hard work and commitment that goes into making our schools great. Let's take time this week to recognize and appreciate all those who help share our future.
And we do
Do you
have,
read that?
Sarah's going to read the presidential proclamation on
Go,
American
Sarah.
Education Week.
Okay. A proclamation by the President of the United States of America. During American Education Week, we celebrate the power and promise of our nation's public education system, which has empowered so many students to realize their full potential, regardless of their zip code. We show gratitude for educators and staff who ensure that our schools are filled with hope and possibilities, and we recommit to ensuring each student, educator, and school has the resources and opportunities they need to thrive. America's public education system helps define who we are, a nation of possibilities where everyone gets a fair shot to pursue their talents and ambitions. Some of our nation's greatest scholars and scientists, artists and humanitarians, and dreamers and doers got their start at a public school. Many have further honed their skills in our colleges, universities, registered apprenticeships, and career and technical education programs. and education gives you something no one can take away. That is why we must remain committed to supporting our schools, which open the doors of opportunity wider for everyone. I am proud that my administration secured a historic $130 billion in funding for our nation's K through 12 schools through my American Rescue Plan. That law put more teachers in classrooms and put more counselors, social workers, and other supportive staff in our schools. It also invested in high-quality tutoring and made historic expansions in summer and after-school programs while upgrading the physical school buildings, including making aging buildings more secure and improving air quality. My administration also remains committed to ensuring students have the resources they need to succeed. My American Rescue Plan led to our country's biggest ever investment in mental health and substance abuse programs, providing critical funding to increase the number of mental health providers in our schools. Furthermore, my bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first major federal gun safety legislation passed in nearly 30 years, made important steps toward ending the threat of gun violence, which brings terror to far too many schools. The bipartisan Safer Communities Act also included $2 billion in funding to create safe, inclusive learning environments for all students and to train and hire more mental health professionals for schools. My administration also made it easier for schools to bill Medicaid so that they could deliver critical health services, including mental health services, to students. And through my national strategy to end hunger and reduce diet-related diseases in America by 2030, we are working toward a future where every kid has access to free, healthy school meals. Setting students up for success also means improving our nation's early childhood education. Children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school and go on to earn a 2- or 4-year degree, no matter what their background. My administration has fought to make preschool universal for every 3- and 4-year-old in America. To support our nation's higher education system, my administration secured nearly $40 billion for colleges and universities through my American Rescue Plan. That includes billions of dollars in funding for minority-serving institutions and historically Black colleges and universities. I have always believed that higher education should be a pathway to the middle class, but we have to make it more affordable. That is why my administration provided the largest increases to the maximum Pell Grant award in over a decade, making college more affordable for over 6 million students. We also canceled student loan debt for over 1 million public service workers, including teachers, by fixing the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Before I took office, only 7,000 public service workers had ever received the forgiveness they were entitled to through PSLF. In total, we have approved debt cancellation for nearly 5 million Americans across all our various debt relief actions, including fixing income-driven repayment so borrowers get the relief they earned, and holding the colleges that take advantage of students and families accountable. Everyone deserves a fair shot at the American dream, so my administration has invested more in registered apprenticeships and career and technical training programs than any other administration in history, empowering workers to earn while they learn and opening up new pathways to secure good-paying jobs. We are also working to expand registered apprenticeships for educators and increase access to high-quality teacher preparation programs, including by making them more affordable. During American Education Week, we show our gratitude to the educators and school staff across our nation who are the kite strings that keep our national ambitions aloft. And together, we will work to ensure our nation's students have every opportunity to succeed. Now, therefore, I, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim November 17th through November 23rd, 2024 as American Education Week. I call upon all Americans to mark this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities, honoring those who devote their talents and energies to helping our children reach their full potential and to building school communities where all students feel they belong. In witness thereof, do I need to finish that? Not really. Okay. The end. You're welcome.
And our wonderful food service will be baking and distributing cookies in honor of American Education Week for our employees at all of the buildings. So those will be distributed throughout the week this week. parent education.
Yep. Jackie, could you step out and let them know that we're ready for them? We have some very excited families to join us here. Our very first parent education program or cohort started this fall, and they are here along with Chit Poo, our family liaison, and Tatiana Collins, our migrant liaison. Here they come. And Chit, you can come here in front. We'll bring them forward. I think Tatiana shared that all of them were able to attend tonight, which is amazing. Perfect attendance. Right here. So I'll have both of you use the microphone when we introduce the program. So I just wanted to share before we get started that this program was inspired by Dr. Luis Cruz's Soluciones that we brought in last April with the PLC conference, and I'm going to let you two take it away. It's been wonderful.
All right. Good evening. My name is Tatiana Collins. I am a migrant ELL teacher at high school. And this fall, we added a new spark to our Wednesdays at the BA Niblock Orpheum Welcome Center. We hold parent workshops. And as you can see, we have a lot of parents participating in this wonderful opportunity. Okay, and this idea came from Dr. Luis's work, and then he was a keynote speaker at the conference, Soluciones conferences at Marshalltown High School, and so far we've had 7 workshops, and I can tell you, parent participation was amazing, and attendance was almost perfect. So thank you parents. Muchas gracias para su esfuerzo y para su tiempo. Muchas gracias. Okay. So during the workshops, Chit Poo, she's going to introduce herself later. Chit Poo and I, we focused on Dr. Cruz's 7 topics. And we also provided opportunities for parents to develop their English language skills and literacy skills. Okay. We also had guest speakers. Ms. Hernandez was there to speak. She spoke on career and college success and college readiness. So we had guest speakers speak and reinforce topics. Topics were, do we remember the topics? So family time, right? We had conscious behavior. We also did organizing and prioritizing things, growing readers and writers, focusing on numbers, all kinds of topics. So that was a lot.
And those are the 7 topics of Luis Cruz's community presentation.
Yes, definitely, yeah. And then what else did we do? And we took our parents to different places. For example, we took them to the library. So we got the library card for each parent. So that was exciting. And overall, it was a very positive learning experience. I feel like parents enjoyed that. And I enjoyed it the most. Okay. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to offer winter session, which is coming up December. Chitpum, when do we have? I think it's December 4th. December 4th, yep. And then we're going to offer spring sessions. And since there has been quite an interest, we're going to have Wednesday evening sessions as well. Okay, so yep, it's been fun. Yep. And I feel like what I learned too, that parents want to be part of this collaboration. They want to be part of their children's education, and they want to participate. And we're excited to offer such opportunity to them. Okay. Chitpoo, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Okay. I'm Chitpoo. I'm a family liaison from MCSD Welcome Center. So I have part of this a workshop series, and then mostly like behind the scenes with everything like set up before the parents came in. But it was really nice. Parents like having like good attendance. Now we still have like 10 more people that couldn't come today. So yeah, we have like 50, 20, 25 parents that attend consistently for like every workshop. And then I still have a few more parents like that stay interested in do. So like we continue to do like every 8 weeks after 8 weeks. And yeah, so it was a good workshop, but yeah. And then at the end of the 8, this is a 8 weeks, so we do the celebration and recognition, and then this is a certificate that we're gonna hand them out. And then yeah, and then after we get back to Welcome Center, they're gonna get the meal, and then yeah, we're just gonna celebrate today.
So yeah, you're gonna have a celebration tonight. So, would you like to ask parents to share
Yeah, and then I'm gonna let parents share what something they learned from the workshop, like something they're gonna remember. So Tatiana can help translate
I
in
can try to
Spanish.
translate. Do we have a mic? You can
Those ones move. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to do that, and then we'll translate? Okay. We'll
You
just
just say that.
Okay. So who would like to share? Okay.
¿Tengo que apretar aquí? Ah, no. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Ana Isabel, soy cubana.
So her name is Isabel. She's from Cuba.
Shauna, give her the other microphone.
Here, Tatiana.
Oh, should I? Okay. Both words. Okay. Perfect.
Estoy muy agradecida por el curso donde estamos pasando nosotros, padres de diferentes de niños que están en diferentes escuelas. Gracias por el apoyo a todas las personas que están ayudando con este curso. Pues hemos aprendido mucho.
Okay, so she's saying that she's very thankful for this opportunity to take part in the workshops, and they have learned a lot.
Es muy importante, pues nos han hablado acerca de la importancia de nosotros como padres, como madres principalmente, que somos las que más estamos en el curso, acerca de la organización de nosotros en la casa para también ayudar a organizar a nuestros hijos en la escuela. Muy importante también nos hablaron acerca de la importancia de la matemática.
So she found it important, those topics were important to her, to learn about organizing things in the house or at school, or doing things with children too.
Nos han ayudado también con respecto y nos han hablado acerca de todos los programas que hay con respecto, nos enseñó Karina, las diferentes oportunidades que hay para nuestros hijos con los colegios, las universidades y todo lo que debemos de hacer para ayudar a nuestros hijos a comenzar la colegiatura y la universidad.
So it was so important to hear opportunities that exist for their children, especially listen to educational leaders like Karina Hernandez talking about educational opportunities for college and career.
En mi caso es muy importante, pues uno viene de otro país donde la enseñanza no es igual y entonces esto nos ayuda mucho para el día de mañana poder ayudar a nuestros hijos para las carreras y también con respecto al idioma, ya que es una barrera importante que hay que superar.
Ms. Hernandez, do you want to translate? That was a lot. We can do it in a nutshell. So as a newcomer from Cuba, all these things are new. Educational system is new. So learning about schools in American system is very important. So this is like in short.
Y bueno, muchas gracias por este programa, que sigan ayudando a seguir haciendo programas así de escuelas para madres y hijos emigrantes, donde queremos que nuestros hijos sean niños de bien, personas de bien, cultas y que sean profesionales decentes y con conocimiento.
Well, thank you so much for offering this program for immigrants to learn English and providing opportunities for families and children and mothers and little ones too.
Muchas gracias.
¿Alguien más? Juliana, okay.
Bien, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Julianela.
Her name is Julianela.
También soy cubana.
She's from Cuba.
Tengo una hija en la high school.
She has a daughter at high school.
Ha sido una gran oportunidad para mí como madre porque así puedo compartir con mi hija todo lo que hemos aprendido en este tiempo, en el curso, que ha sido muy valioso para mí.
It has been the workshops have been very helpful for her as a mother, and allowed her an opportunity to help her daughter at school.
Vemos que fue un tiempo muy valioso porque no solamente aprendimos cosas del inglés y del idioma, que para nosotros es un poco difficult.
So not only they learned more about English language at this moment, English is difficult, a little bit difficult,
Sino que también nos orientaron, nos aconsejaron con muchas materias, con nuestro tiempo, cómo cuidarnos a nosotros mismos, cómo es la ciudad, porque muchos estamos recién llegados acá y no sabemos bien sobre la seguridad de la ciudad, las costumbres, todas esas cosas fueron muy buenas para nosotros como familia y para nosotros también poder compartirlos con otras personas que han llegado acá, migrantes.
They have received guidance and advice on how to adjust to this new culture, to new things in this country, into the system, and that was very helpful to the family.
Para nosotros ha sido muy valioso porque además vemos que muchas cosas de las que nos habían quizás mal hablado de este país y de este sistema, pues han quedado prácticamente sin argumentos porque es otra la realidad que hemos vivido acá y es verdad que la acogida que nos han dado ha sido muy buena.
Okay, so that one is hard to translate, but there have been some things that are different or they were not used to or they don't know about in this country. So it's all different and they just had to learn that, right? Is it a nutshell? Okay.
Okay. Bueno, ya muchas gracias. Gracias por la oportunidad que nos han dado también de estar acá con ustedes y de compartir este espacio. Muchas gracias.
She's happy to be here and to share this space with you. Okay. ¿Alguien más? One more. Okay. Paula.
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Paula. Estoy muy contenta de pertenecer a este grupo donde hemos aprendido demasiado.
I am very happy to belong to this workshop where we have learned a lot.
Nos han orientado sobre muchos temas, sobre educación, sobre cómo organizar, administrar en la casa, con la familia, la atención con los hijos. O sea, son temas que ya los sabíamos, pero no con otras personas preocupadas porque estemos atendiendo mejor a nuestra familia. O sea, más atención hacia nuestros estudiantes.
Okay, so no, that's okay. So they have learned lots of things, and there were things that are important to them, especially learning those things in a group. When you learn those things in a group, you pay more attention and you focus on those things more.
Estoy muy agradecida también con todos porque hemos aprendido muchas cosas en inglés que no sabíamos. La pronunciación de las palabras, de las vocales, o sea, es de empezar de abajo, pero es bien padre que estén enseñándonos como que para que nos expresemos con más seguridad.
Another thing she mentioned is being able to learn English and to learn how to pronounce things, how to learn things from scratch, and that's important to them too.
Es muy importante que sigan estos talleres, o sea, a mí me gusta mucho aprender y es muy importante como que crezca que enseñen para que haya más gente interesada y aprendamos.
Yeah, in her opinion, those types of workshops need to be continued so they can keep learning, especially for her, for Paula, yes. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
So I think you've heard from some of the voices of the group, our first ever parent education program cohort. We're very, very proud of all of you. Thank you so much for coming. Feel free to stay or you may go. Yes.
Celebrate.
Thank you again, and we'll give you a big round of applause.
Thank you, Shauna.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We've got minutes from the November 4 board meeting. Jackie, any items to note in personnel?
Yep, sorry I didn't get this into the board notes. We do have a retirement. Jamie Wilson is a veteran of the nutrition department, retiring after 32 years of service. Jamie has been an important part of our team, currently serving as the lead of the fruit and veggie department at the high school. Additionally, Jamie has served as the steward for the food service group and has helped to forge positive relationships between the bargaining group and the district. Thank you, Jamie, for the years you dedicated to serving Marshtown Community School District students. We wish you health and happiness in your retirement. From Lynn Large, Director of Food Services.
Thank you, Jackie. We've got a couple of agreements, an agreement with Center for Responsive Schools for services to measure implementation integrity in the responsive classroom approach, and then 3 special education agreements with Ankeny School District. Any questions about any of those items?
Is the first one then covered by a grant?
Yes. Yes.
Stronger Connections grant.
Looking at open enrollments, there are 5 total, 3 out and 2 in. Excuse me. Randy, anything to note in bills or the monthly financials?
No.
Any questions for Randy about the bills or monthly financials? And then in gifts, we've got a donation of $400 from the local PEO chapter for health offices to be used towards student clothing and hygiene supplies. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Morales Hernandez, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Nobody's on the pink sheet, which means Caitlin, Legay, Paul, we're up to you guys.
Good afternoon, school board members. Okay. So during the month of November, the MHS Student Senate attended the Iowa Student Leadership Conference in Ames, which happened over 2 days. Over those 2 days, the students were able to join specialty breakout sessions and connecting with 34 other schools in a leadership exchange and started their state project, Planting Kindness, Sprouting Change. I think overall the students had a really enjoyable time during the event and were able to connect and learn with other students from other schools.
Can you go back to the previous slide? Oh, my slide looks different. Okay. We're good.
Yes. Then last Thursday on the 14th, there was a fall orchestra concert which consisted of the 7th and 8th grade orchestra. Both of the grade levels performed 3 musical pieces, followed by the MHS Chamber Orchestra, and then the MHS Orchestra ending off the concert. Overall, I think the students delivered the musical pieces really well and were able to give the audience a really great performance.
The YMCA hosted the state swimming and diving this weekend. I did not go, and I really wanted to because it looked very fun. There were a lot of people who went. We had a lot of young women compete this year. Kate Hauser, a senior, placed 4th. And we hope to see a lot of these girls next year. The MHS dance team competed at the regional dance competition and placed in numerous categories. Rachel Schiebel was the grand champion, and Nick, I'm going to botch the last name, Savadity was the improv champion. And then there was a quiz bowl tournament at Waukee Northwest. They placed 2nd out of 10 teams and went 6-1.
Last Saturday, the speech and debate team attended the Bulldog Invitational competition at Benedorf, and through the students' hard work, they were able to bring 2 awards. Nigel placed 2nd, and Naimare placed 3rd in the original oratory division. And we can't wait to see how the students will perform in future events. Any questions?
No. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, Kristen? And the Todds.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. We are excited to be here tonight. I'm Kristen Cal, one of the co-principals, and my counterpart, Dave Glenn. I'm here with Todd Rosenberger and Todd Kluver. Nikki Bolivar could not be with us tonight, so it'll be the Todd show. But we're really excited to share with you some of the things going on with PE. So our agenda for tonight is to just kind of review our goals, go through our action steps, and then really the core of our presentation is going to be sharing with you PE at Miller Middle School.
That's what you just did. We'll just start with a big, huge thank you to the community.
Yes.
For the positive yes vote on the bond referendum for the renovations to reimagine Miller. As you can imagine, our staff is excited and somewhat apprehensive on what it's going to look like, but really, really excited to get into the design and plan, and we have been fielding requests already for room things, offices, cappuccino machines, all what you would expect with renovation of an educational center.
But we just wanted to personally thank school board for supporting this and the community who went out and voted yes. We're really excited for this next adventure for Miller Middle School, and we just appreciate your support in that. So, we wanted to share with you our goals for this year, really focusing on, chronic absenteeism, so students present 90% of the time and above, but then also looking at the staff. It's so important for our teachers to be there and present for our students. So our goal is to have teachers present 95% of the time and above. We really focus on students doing the right thing, and so 95% of our students having fewer than 2 major discipline referrals. The next one, we've been really trying to really hone in on this. Students will participate in at least 2 co-curricular activities. This doesn't just include sports, which obviously we want students to be involved with that, but really clubs and activities within our school. And really there's not a lot of red tape that kids need to go through to form a club. It's really finding a space and finding an adult. So we just had a Harry Potter club that started up. We brought back a chess club this year, which is really exciting. So we've got some battles going on there, but really just encouraging kids to get involved one way or another. It doesn't necessarily have to be athletically. We will have a true sanctioned girls wrestling season this year that'll start after the holiday. And so far we have 20 plus girls signed up. Almost 50 now, never mind. See, I'm that far behind.
How many?
Almost 50.
Wow.
At least signed up for interest.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, really exciting.
Really exciting, yeah. 90% of our students can identify at least one trusted adult in the building. That's really something that we focus on and always have it in the learners, making sure that every one of our kids has somebody that they can go to. And it doesn't necessarily have to be myself or Mr. Glenn or a teacher. It could be a parent. It could be, just anybody in the building that they have a connection with and that they know that they can trust. And that's really, really important for us at the middle school level. Overall proficiency on FAST will increase in both 7th and 8th grade. And then both cohorts, our 7th and 8th graders, will increase proficiency and the number of advanced on the ISAST. So that's really ultimately our goals for the 24-25 school year. And Dave's going to talk a little bit about how we think we can make that happen.
Yeah, so that's, it looks great, and the big question is always how are we going to get there? All right, so I didn't bring my glasses, and I can't read this until that comes up there. So we want to make sure that, maybe, yeah. So obviously, when you're looking at the Iowa Core curriculum, it's a lot in each grade level, in each subject area. There's a lot of information and a lot of standards there. So we really want to talk about prioritizing those standards inside of each of our PLCs and finding those priority standards that we are going to guarantee that all kids master, and we will get there. We're not going to not teach any of the Iowa Core, but we want to be able to focus on those standards that are really going to translate beyond this current grade year. So we're going to really focus on prioritizing some of those and then responding to how students are performing and working on that, which is really the other side of it. That comes through our PLC meetings. That comes through which we have that dedicated time for teachers to collaborate and to look at data and to share instructional strategies and what's working, what's not, how to respond to students, and then really work on those with our team meetings as well, which are typically centered around some of those behavioral type things where students don't seem to be engaged or they're disruptive or they're whatever. And so being that each team shares a core set of students, that allows us to really hone in on particular students. And we're going to just really kind of continue to work on our Power 8 with NIAT, with our new instructional framework that is really helpful. I mean, I think in the last week, I've had 3 different conversations with teachers who are frustrated with one thing or another, and I said, well, let's ground this in what is this framework, what does this indicator say, what are the things that we're doing, what are the things that we could work on doing better, and so many of them involve, when you move to that highly effective side, involving students in the decision making, in the way that your class is structured, in the way that works. And so just really kind of building that community, which kind of leads into that SEL side of things. So we want to make sure that teachers are working to build relationships with students. We want to make sure that they're trying to find out what students are interested in. It's a lot easier to make your curriculum relevant if you can tie it to the things that students are already interested in. We want to continue to partner with our families and work to improve attendance, and we meet as an attendance team weekly and always come away with a list of parents and that we need to go, calls that we need to make, letters that we need to send, those kinds of things. Excuse me. And then just all throughout the day, making sure that there are as few unsupervised areas of the building as we can have them. And so it's really been an emphasis to try to get teachers and staff members out and about outside of their classrooms during passing time. We come out and move to different parts of the building where we have seen or suspect that there may be an uptick in behaviors, and kind of move around and get kids going to where they're supposed to be going. So, and then finally, we want to make sure that, as you've probably noticed, there's a focus on adult SEL this year and really working on taking care of ourselves. And so we're trying to maintain that as a priority for our staff to make sure that if they're not coming in good shape, then they're not going to be in good shape for kids. And part of that leads right into what we do with kids every day in PE.
Yep.
So we're going to turn it over to Mr. Rosenberger and Mr. Kluver.
All right, thanks, Dave. As Kristen mentioned, my name's Todd Rosenberger, and I'm one of the 3 PE teachers at Miller, and this is Mr. Kluver to my right. Proud to say I've been in Marshtown for 25 years, and 20 of them have been at Miller, so been around a while. We just have some slides for you guys, and we're hoping that it'll give you a good idea of kind of the experience kids get when they come to Miller and have PE class. So the first slide is basically just kind of the basic structure of our class. Block scheduling is really nice for PE. That way we don't have to rush. We can really explain what we're doing and do a lot of the teaching and not just feel like it's got to be go, 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 go. So we have 85 minutes. Since there's 3 of us, we do 3 rotations. Each class starts in a different area. One class starts in the fitness center. One class starts in the competition gym or the big gym downstairs, and then one class starts up in the traditional gym or the competition gym downstairs and the traditional gym upstairs.
Classic.
Yeah, and the classic gym, yes. So it really, it's kind of nice because it breaks class up to have those rotations. We're not in one spot for 85 minutes. Our focus is always, we talk a lot about just the 3 components of fitness, which is muscular strength and endurance, flexibility, and cardiovascular endurance. And each one of the areas that we rotate to hit those areas in one way or another. We have also not forgotten about team sports, which we feel is very important to give those kids that like to compete that opportunity. And that's where the kids can learn cooperation and teamwork, handling winning and losing. So we are very fitness based, but we haven't forgotten about the traditional PE where kids can actually compete and show their skills off. So that's kind of how we structure it. So the second slide, as I mentioned, one of the classes starts in the fitness center. We've made some major upgrades in there this year due to some PEPAL money, and it was much needed. A lot of the equipment we were using was from 2006, and it held up very, very well. It was high quality equipment, but we were due for some new equipment, so we were very happy when all that formulated last year. We have 11 matrix strength training machines that hit all different types of the muscle groups in the body. We have 6 brand new treadmills, 8 brand new ellipticals, 7 brand new stationary bikes, 1 rowing machine. We upgraded our free weights, got some new benches, new bars. A lot of kids like to use the free weights. But this is the good part about this room is where the kids come in and they have just a lot of choices. They like choices. About 90% of the kids figure out what routine they want to do, whether that be start on a treadmill for 10 minutes and then maybe go to the strength training machines. So we have somewhat of an open environment in there, but we do structure it for the kids that can't figure it out for themselves, which they need. So, but the good thing about that room is just the choices that the kids have, and it definitely hits those 3 components of fitness. They can learn about how to work out in a gym so that when they become older, they'll already have those skills and they'll know how to use the machines and proper way to lift weights and how to, properly use all of our cardio equipment. So they're learning a lot in there as they're working out. The competition gym, as I mentioned, that's where we do our traditional units, whether that be volleyball, basketball, soccer, just the team sports. And we also work the skills. We have skill days where we might, if it's a basketball unit, it might be, dribbling and shooting and how to do that. But then we also try to spend plenty of time on just giving the kids time to get in teams and play games because they really like that. And like I said, it gives them a chance to compete and know how to handle winning and losing, which is you know, a life skill that they need, and it gives us a chance to teach coping skills if you know, if they're not handling it too well. So that's kind of how it works downstairs. And then finally, oh yeah. We do some, we get out of the building a little bit, and we utilize our beautiful tennis complex. For our tennis unit, we take the kids over to the tennis courts in September for the first semester kids, and then we take them over in May for the second semester kids. And, you know, of course, they enjoy that. It's kind of like a little field trip for them. They really like that. And then we also have the water safety, where we travel to the Y, and kids are able to get in the water and learn different water safety skills. So that's really good for them too. We're pretty excited about what we're starting upstairs in the traditional gym. We have a new curriculum this year that we're all still getting used to, but it's called Platform. The high school uses it, and we just got our monitor, but it's video based. And it has everything on it, anywhere from just mechanics and movement to individual exercises that you can use your own body weight doing, like basic stuff, push-ups and sit-ups, planks. But then there's also lesson plans on there for traditional units too that we plan on using as well. But we're just getting started with Platform. We're introducing the kids to it right now, and it's really got endless possibilities. So we're excited to get that going and get the kids exposed to that. And I hope that gives you guys a little bit of an idea of kind of how PE works at Miller. And
the only thing that I would just jump in and add on that, you know, I mentioned that there's been a focus on adult SEL, and one of the things that we've talked about when we think about adults and self-care is that throughout your day, you're faced with stressors, and the stressors come and go, but they lead to stress. The stressors will go away, but the stress will remain inside you until you work to get rid of it. And one of the ways to do that is through movement. And, you know, we really do feel that with a lot of our students with PE, you know, that they work the same way, right? They have stressors throughout their day, whether it's schoolwork, friends, all the above, parents, whatever. And those come and go. They might come to school and leave those stressors behind, but the stress remains. And so giving them an outlet, giving them a way to teach them that, you know, the benefits of PE beyond just for regular sports, just for your overall well-being has been an emphasis that all Nikki, Todd, and Todd do really well.
Yeah. Sounds good.
You guys have any questions for myself or Day? For Todd?
We feel good about it because we just feel like we're really giving the kids a nice, well-rounded experience, and we have the time to do it with the block scheduling, which is really nice. So I know that's, you know, everyone's kind of got an opinion on that, but ours is, we like it because we always just felt rushed with the, you know, 35, 40 minutes. So.
And we do have students every single year who request PE all year instead of just a semester. You know, a lot of our kids would want PE all year, every day, if they could get it.
I should put a little plug into, with the bond being passed, we do have some logistical or location challenges. Our PE offices are shoved down a hallway way off of the gyms, no windows in them or anything like that. And then we also have some storage issues too. So as our plans develop on the construction, we're hoping that that's taken into consideration, maybe some offices in a better location and some better storage for equipment, because there's really not, it's pretty bad right now, and it's a daily challenge.
Don't you have office/storage closets?
Yeah, I mean, my closet, it's more of a closet, and it's actually, it's the storage area too. But I mean, it's a safety issue at times because they're way off the gym. I don't know how many people have kind of been in that area or not, but it sure would be nice to have, and not just for us, but for future teachers. I mean, we're not going to be around a whole lot longer, so. But look into the future.
They said if we made them come to the presentation, that was it.
I'll say a few words, so they can't accuse me I didn't talk. There's a reason, because I'm the old guy here, the veteran. I'm really proud of Marshalltown Community Schools because I started back in the early 90s at the Roundhouse. I was at the Roundhouse for 21 years. And this community has been very fortunate. There's been a lot of great educators that have come through here. The Ken Suttons, I'll just use him as an example, but the Phil Hennings, the Carolyn Weirs, we've been really fortunate around here. So I'm giving my age away. This is my 31st year at Marshalltown, 21 at the high school and 10 at Miller. But physical education has always been a very important thing at Marshalltown. And our kids obviously have appreciated those opportunities. I'm talking former students of mine, former athletes, the Tyler Pashongs in the community, kids like that, they always let you know how valuable their learning experiences were, PE and extracurricular. But what I'm getting at is I'm just really proud as I get towards the end of my career, the opportunities that kids have in phys ed. Obviously, the Marshalltown High School has been improved tenfold through the first construction project, and those kids are experiencing all those opportunities. Miller, we're fortunate because of the things Todd just talked about, but obviously it's going to be even better here in a few years. So feel real good about the opportunities our young kids do have here in Marshalltown. And I would be remiss if I didn't. I have 3 grown young men of my own now that all came through the school district. And my oldest one, who's 30, will tell anybody that he's very active and he is a CrossFit nut, exercise workout. But it all started in his back in 7-8 at Miller Middle School because he was able to go in with Mr. Rosenberger here. I was at the high school at that time yet. But Mr. Rosenberger exposed him to a weight room. And to give you an example, now how many years is that ago? 15, 20? 20 years ago now that's a big part of his life is what I'm getting at is his fitness and his carrying on what he learned when he was at Miller Middle School. And those things are very valuable. So thank you for all of your efforts. And if you have kids in the district, they're going to have some great opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
For sharing.
Any questions, comments from the board? I just have one. Do all the kids go to the Y for that water safety?
8th grade.
8th grade.
Okay, but
Yes.
it's not just a select group, it's the whole 8th grade class.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've actually had, each year we, more and more kids will do it. Middle school's hard as it is, and then you say, hey, let's go put on a swimsuit and hop in a pool. But each year our participation just gets better and better, and that's really amazing too. Like they just are like, all right, I can do this. I'm going to do this. And
And they go in 4th and 6th grade as well. So by the time they get to us, they're used to it, which helps. But they've been very compliant. The kids have been, because I was a little nervous. I'll admit, the first year we did it, we've only been doing it for about 3 years.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous. I didn't know if they were gonna get in swimsuits, and it's awkward age, and they've been really good about that.
And then
So
the 8th graders are the only ones that go to the tennis courts too. 7th starts at.
right.
Is this a partnership with the Y, or is that something that we pay for?
Partnership.
It's just a
with the Y.
partnership. Oh, that's awesome.
And the focus is on water safety.
Right.
It's like how to stay safe in the water, like if you're out and about.
That's great.
I would think block scheduling helps make those types of field trips a little bit easier as well.
Absolutely. We'd have to adjust the schedule if we didn't have that. And it makes going to the tennis courts, real nice. We're not rushed.
And it's nice because you can do 3 different things in a class period, so you can touch everything. Before it was almost like kids had to decide, do I want to be in the fitness center or do I want to play volleyball? And now everybody gets to do everything, which I think is great. You at least get to touch everything instead of making that decision on your own.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Guys, thanks for your time.
Uniforms and then the khakis.
Yeah.
Kim?
Hey, Kim. I noticed that Kevin doesn't come to deliver bad news.
Haven't had another meeting today, so he
Yeah, I
sent
bet
me
he did.
I
bet he
that
did.
meeting. But I have some additional people with me today. So he said, I'm Kim Bellman with FEH Design, and we have Todd Golding with Buildings and Grounds, Josh Hetzler with Van Manen, and Travis Schwartz with Larson Construction. So today we have 2 change orders for you to review. Change order number 7 is for electrical items that were unforeseen that we were found during construction. Josh, do you want to talk about them a little bit?
Yeah, so what we encountered through the process of some removal of things, and as construction went on, we found some underground conduits on the second level that are corroded, and basically they're becoming a powder form. So we ended up sending an RFI in, and we got direction from the design team to do this work, time and material. As it went on, we found more and more problems. As more floor was cut out and removed, we found more problems. So it ended up, all of the west half of second floor is now all redone overhead, and all the underground for that half of the floor, or half of second level, is all redone overhead. It included 2 large panel feeders underground, about 900 feet is roughly what the conduit length was. It was quite a ways, so all copper conductors to get pulled back in. So it was a large amount of work that was unforeseen that we took on during the summer. Got a few pamphlets if anybody wants to see. Yeah, kind of the scope of work of what we originally were supposed to do versus what we actually did. Yep, I got.
Thank you.
Back pictures really show a lot of what we started getting into, or Josh and his team, as they started really getting into cutting the floors. Looked like back at the time when they would have installed that, they used aluminum conduits, which was fine for back then, but then being encased in concrete, that's the effects of happens after 60-some years.
And that's why it's no longer allowed by code to do that work that way, but, you know, we were just supposed to replace the panels in place, and as we started taking stuff apart, it just fell apart our hands, pretty much, so that, this was, you know, we sent an RFI in like 1st of July, and then, you know, we kind of started this right towards the tail end of this project. You know, first full week in July is when we started it. So it was a lot of work that we had to do on top of additional work, I guess is what I should be saying. So now it's
all already done overhead, and it all looks nice in a IT closet up on second level for that half.
So I think part of it was, by the time we discovered what needed to be done, there was a short window of time in order to have it done for the beginning of the school year. So there were definitely evenings and weekends, and there was a lot of overtime involved, I guess, in order to be able to get from A to Z in time for the beginning of the school year.
So what's the total cost for change order 7?
The total cost is $170,000 and, sorry, $170,008.15 on that. So this seemed like the right time to do this project since we already were working in this area and we already had ceilings removed from other work that we were doing, like the sprinkler piping. The electrical was already on site. They had the panels that were to be replaced. We just put them in a new location, but feeding all the wires, as we said, they were underground prior, and now putting them all overhead was a lot of man hours to do this work.
Yeah, because typically they would have just put the new panels in place if plans would have went according to the way we thought. Yeah, with the conduits being the way they were, there wasn't even a way that they could even pull the wire to even trace some of it. So in order to even save even more time, that's why everything started switching and going to overhead. Because, yeah, just with the time crunch and knowing where it wasn't in a good, safe position to be left as is.
And once we started doing the more demolition throughout the project, we found more areas that had the corroded conduit. So originally it was located in one of the janitor's rooms. Then when we got into the fax kitchen and started cutting up the floor there for the underground piping or plumbing, we found that there was more corroded conduit. So that's when the scope kind of expanded and became the amount of work that we found.
Questions from anybody about change order 7?
No.
All right, how about change order 8? Let's talk about that one.
Okay. Change order number 8 is for a total of 8 CORs. This is there are several electrical items related to that too, including removing of floor boxes in room 113, which is an existing science room, adding a few wall outlets in several rooms, providing electrical for the greenhouse. There was some changes during construction related to the ventilation system, and they required additional electrical work. And then also adjustments to 2 overhead doors, one in the wood shop and one in the auto mechanics. They required different lift designs than what we had originally in the bid documents. And that one is roughly $31,000 for that change order.
Questions from anybody about change order 8? Doesn't sound like it. Kim, could you talk a little bit about the total cost versus projected budget versus budget with these change orders?
Yes. So I know in the past, I believe you have a document that we sent to you prior to this meeting about where we've been, and we've talked about this previously on kind of, we had a contingency allowance of $200,000, and then we recommended that the school have an additional contingency allowance. And with these 2 change orders, we are over that, especially with the $170,000 change order. As you said, that was kind of an unforeseen maintenance item that needed to be addressed. So above and beyond the contingency that we had in the project and what we recommended that the school have, we are about $100,000 over that.
But still under,
Still under,
well under the
well under,
projected budget
yes,
amount,
the
right?
projected budget. So since we were about $2.2 million under budget, we're still well under that original $10 million estimate.
I think the original projected budget was about 10.6, and we bonded for 10, I believe, million. And in talking with Kevin, we feel like when it's all said and done, we'll be just under 9 as far as this project goes. And and some of that is unforeseen circumstances, like the big cost here with Van Manen. Some of it are changes that we've requested after the fact, despite our efforts to work closely with teachers and try to figure out what exactly they needed. Once we got into the project, some of those things changed. Some of the things changed just based on our recognition that we thought certain things would be fine. And then once we get into the construction, we find out why did we make that decision. So, while they're already here, we ask them to go ahead and take care of it because it's not gonna cost less later. It'll cost more later. So I'm, as much as it's a bummer anytime you run into these unforeseen circumstances, I believe it was the right decisions, the right work. And at the end of the day, I think we're going to be really happy with the final product. I know we met today earlier, and the hopes are to have most of these things all wrapped up by a holiday, with the exception of a handful of punch list items that are just going to have to wait till kids and staff aren't in session or take care of. For example, there's some issues with the epoxy floor in the industrial arts wing that are not going to be able to be resolved till we don't have people in there on those floors and that sort of thing. But I feel really comfortable with where we're at.
Any other questions, comments from board members?
So we're at almost 8.9 right now. Do we have ideas on the budget for these remaining items?
Should be right around 100,000, and we should finish below 9 million. So.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve change order 7 in the amount of $170,008.15 and change order 8 in the amount of $31,169.38 as presented?
Move for approval.
Second.
Faltis, we'll go with Hernandez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Todd, you can probably stay up here just in case there's any questions. So the next item is for some athletic facility improvements, some quotes that we'd like to get board approval and support on. You'll remember that as part of the summer project work, we had plans to replace the bleachers at the softball diamond. And as we got into that, further into that project, we found that there was some concrete work that needed to be done in conjunction with the bleacher work and the press box work for that. So Todd received quotes, and the low quote on the concrete work for the softball bleachers was DC Construction for $27,300. I think the bids ranged up to almost 50, wasn't it?
It was almost about $100 difference in between two of them. Two of the bids I've got.
Two of the three.
Yep, one was slightly higher.
So we've got before you here, as it relates to softball, the 27,000 plus for the concrete, and then also the prior bid, low bid proposal for the bleachers, which was from Jim Palmer's company. American Aluminum Seating, and that was about 109,000 for the materials and another 15 to 16,000 for the installation there. That work, both the concrete work and the bleacher work, is proposed to be completed yet this fall.
Correct. And initially, when I came with the summer projects, I had kind of figured in 150,000 for the project. So with the concrete and the bleacher proposal, it puts us just roughly over 2,000 above that for a total.
Another quote here is from Musco for the baseball stadium light retrofits. When we were doing the stadium project, Musco reps had talked to us about the fact that, you know, when the time comes for us to do an upgrade there, that it would not require for us to purchase new poles because we already had Musco poles at the baseball stadium. And so to retrofit to LED would require simply a changing out of the lights plus probably one or two additional poles from what we had. And so I had been sitting for some time on what that would cost, and then I asked them late summer, early fall, you know, if they would update and or let us know if that quote was still good, which it was. And so essentially the cost to do that retrofit, which if the board approves such, we would do this spring, so that transition would happen in time for the next summer baseball season. That's $226,781 for materials, and then the installation cost is $48,000 for that, which likely Van Monens would do. I know they've done a lot of our previous work with Musco. And then last, the other thing with softball that I didn't mention is we're in the process of also getting some quotes to extend the drive so from the main entrance down to where baseball and softball meet is asphalt or concrete, and then we have a gravel drive that usually extends to the softball and to the maintenance building, which is adjacent to the grandstand there. And so part of what was recommended by FEH down the road was to go ahead and pave all of that. And quite honestly, with the new bleachers going in, I think we need to be conscientious of ADA accessibility as well, which we will be with the bleachers, but we need to have a walkway and or entryway, which is also ADA accessible. So we'll be coming before you down the road probably with some quotes for that as well, hopefully to be implemented in the spring prior to the next softball season. And lastly within this is a quote for $30,000 from Bowlin Recreation for the implementation of some additional sunshades at the tennis court complex. These would be, they'd be very similar in nature to what we have at the plaza at the stadium or in the center of the court complex, except for these are smaller cantilever type of sunshades. So there would be one pole that would be installed between each of the two sections of bleachers that are on the north and south sides of the courts there in the center of the complex, which would then fan out over where people sit in order to watch those matches. And it's a smaller installation, but I think will have a big impact on spectator experience and also coaches and player experiences, because when they're not on the courts, they're generally sitting in those bleacher sections there. And in the heat of the summer where James is usually running a couple USTA meets, it gets brutally hot there. So you'll see people generally congregate under the big tent where the headquarters is stationed, just to get out of the sun for when they're not competing. So I do plan to apply for an additional USTA grant to help support the purchase. It'd probably cover a fourth or fifth of it when it's all said and done, but still it's something. And with us having gotten that significant grant a few years ago when we built the complex, it's pretty much a slam dunk that we'll get a Category 2 grant, which probably be $5,000 from the national USTA and then another $1,000 to $2,000 from the Missouri Valley, which is headquartered in Kansas City. So maybe $7,000 of what ultimately could be a $40,000 expenditure. But these are all projects that, in talking with Randy, we have the funds to support between SAVE and PEPL, and so I'm asking for the board's approval to move forward on these both this fall and next spring.
Questions?
On the softball complex, the two bids, the one with DC Construction, just reading through the quote or the bid, it talks about there could be further costs, winter costs, if they have to pour in the winter. Are you going to be coming back, you think, or is this something you think that would get poured within the coming weeks?
If approved tonight, he's going to start tomorrow.
Okay, and then the second thing is, I don't know if we need legal advice, but it said basically they're not taking any responsibility for any failure to design provided by AASI. Is that a concern at all, or?
No, I don't believe so, because I know that they actually had went out and talked with Mr. Palmer on that during the initial bleacher proposal. He was the one that actually provided the foundation for the concrete work. And then upon a couple of different conversations back and forth with them, there was additional areas like where the press box is thickened slab and many of those details, because some of the design details in that original wasn't quite, listed out there. So we did have several conversations, hence part of the reason kind of delayed some of the concrete work. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page when we went out to bid for it. So, like I said, I did speak with Victor, and he said upon approval, they could mobilize tomorrow and start. So he didn't see it to be a problem with getting it done ahead of time.
So for the baseball, softball complex, we've got the lights, we've got the concrete work, we've got the bleachers. Anything else planned for that space, or are those the only three projects we're doing there?
For the coming year, it would be the drive that was mentioned would be looked at to see if that would be something that we could do as well. But when we had FEH do a long-range facilities improvement plan for athletic spaces, they worked directly with our baseball and softball coaches at the time. There are other things that were identified for future projects, but we also made it clear that our plan would be to incrementally work on those things over time, that they weren't just going to all happen at one time, especially with large-scale projects that we had with the stadium, with the tennis courts, with now Franklin Field. But I think we're going to be in pretty good shape working with Mr. Isgrig on that. I would say the biggest thing at softball are concerns relative to the playing surface itself, the infield surface, and so that would probably, I would say, be the next thing that we would look at. There would be a potential replacement on that. I think in the long range, it would be really important to take a look at the possibility of moving towards a turf surface for both baseball and softball, and so that's something that's going to have to be contemplated if we're going to put large-scale funding, $60,000, $100,000 into improving the softball infield, that will probably delay any immediate or short-term pursuit of turfing those areas, because it doesn't make sense to do that if you're gonna turf it.
Yeah.
But to turf it is gonna be a large expense. I'm just gonna guesstimate in today's dollars, it's probably $1.5 to $2 million to do both
And the
baseball
great-
and softball at the same time.
Well, and the great thing with Mr. Palmer also being very familiar with that field, the new bleacher design and concrete work is also taken in consideration. Previously, they would get, at times, for whatever reason, the field would want to kind of wash off back towards the home plate and underneath the old bleachers that were there. So the new essentially is going to create a barrier and a drainage system to at least stop a lot of that infield material from being able to wash past the backstop, but yet it'll still drain out and obviously still being good neighbors to the Bobcat Estates people. Will kick it along further with, the new drain that's down there as well. So there was that was the great thing about Mr. Palmer getting in there, is he already knew the field well and how it acted.
Any other questions? Okay, then, excuse me. Is there a motion to approve the following project quotes for athletic facilities improvements as presented? The Sourcewell quote from Musco Lighting to retrofit the baseball field lights in the amount of $274,781. Bowl and Recreation quote to replace tennis court sunshades in the amount of $30,000. DC Construction quote to pour concrete for the new softball bleachers in the amount of $27,300. And American Aluminum Seating, Inc. quote for construction and installation of softball bleachers in the amount of $124,953.
So moved. Second, I have a quick comment. I noticed that it said on 3, it says Dick's
It's
Concrete.
listed wrong on that.
Okay, I just want to make sure we correct.
I'm wondering if
that
the
needs to be
Dick's
corrected.
came up, because I think Dick's was going to help with the shade, so I think something got
That's what I
shuffled
got.
in there.
Okay.
But it is DC.
Okay,
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Yep.
But second.
Okay. Faltis Morales, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries 5-1.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Randy, you want to talk about
Sure.
early retirement?
Yep. So it's that time of year per our board policy where we review whether to offer our early retirement incentive to our various employee groups. This year, as consistent with the last few years after meeting with Dr. Schutte and reviewing the data that we had available to us, this year there were 45 staff members that were eligible for early retirement. However, voluntary early retirement has historically been used as a cost-saving measure for the district, and right now we are still very fiscally healthy and financially stable, and also we still have several positions within the district that are open. So due to the amount of open positions and our current fiscal health, the recommendation, similar to the last few years, is to not offer early retirement for the upcoming year.
Questions for Randy? Randy, do you remember, you said the last couple of years, I'm trying to remember specifically how long it's been since we offered.
I believe 2021 was the last year that it was offered.
Okay. And 45, that's across
All employee groups, yes.
Okay.
Majority were teachers, but yes, 45 in total.
Did you say majority were teachers?
Majority, yes, were teachers, yep. I mean, if you want the exact number, give me a second, I can pull it up.
I
I guess I'd just say, well, you're doing that, Randy. I tend to agree with your philosophy here, which is we don't need to do this for financial reasons. And we have unfilled positions. And so I think incentivizing people to retire doesn't make sense right now.
Correct. 35 of the 43 were certified staff.
Yeah, I think it was 3 years ago or so, we did provide, I think, the last opportunity to take advantage of it, and it was kind of, it was against the grain of what we would typically do based on our financial health and challenges hiring, but I felt strongly that we should offer an off-ramp to some of those people that really stuck with us during the pandemic, during some of the hardest years ever in education. And so, but we talked about moving forward that, it's just really hard to potentially put yourselves in a more challenging situation than we've been in the recent past with hiring. Things are starting to look up, I would say, particularly in the support staff realm from where they've been, but we've had to make some significant changes in salary, benefits, in order to get there essentially. And, I don't want to say that we will never be in a position where we offer early retirement again, but based on any of the reasons that we've chose to offer it in the past, it just does not make sense at this point in time.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to not offer early retirement incentive for the fiscal year 2025 as presented?
So moved. Second.
Morales, Stanley, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Rex. Oh, that's fine.
You'll be happy to know I'm not here about asking for a bus tonight. We're still waiting on buses.
How many? How many are we waiting on?
6.
Yeah.
We're waiting on 6. And last I heard, the ones from January 23 that you approved, we may see one at the beginning of the new year, and we may see the other one May or June. And then the ones that ordered in October of 23, we'll possibly get to see those in November, December of 25. And then the ones that you just allowed me to order, they're still on schedule for March of 25 that I just ordered. So the latest could be the first in, and the earliest ones might be last. What I'm here tonight asking permission to purchase is after long looking at what our IT department does to move equipment around, and they're constantly moving TVs, monitors, carts of laptop computers, is they're always trying to beg, borrow, or steal a piece of equipment to move stuff around. And also food service, thinking snacks and stuff, they get out the big truck, which is not necessary to move a few boxes of snacks to buildings or whatever. So after doing some due diligence and having conversations with Amy and with Lynn and also with Randy about where we needed to be going, I'm recommending that we purchase a van for their use, a mid-size van that'll fit a couple of the food carts if they need for some reason to take a food delivery someplace other than use the big trucks, they could use that. Also, it would have a lift on it, would lift it up, put it in. Amy and her 78-inch TV and all her other big equipment could be tied down safely in that. So we were put out bids to our 3 local vendors, Carl's, Jensen's, and Greg Young's We did not hear anything back from Greg Young. I made a couple phone calls, never got a response. We did hear back from Jensen's, and we did hear back from Carl's. Carl's gave us, on the new 25 model, they gave us a $5,000 discount, and also they did the list price. So they were quite significant under what Jensen's was. Jensen came in with everything we wanted, right around 70,000, and Carl's came in at 57,720.86, and that's fully equipped, ready to go, and they would have it. And this Carl's is on the lot. Jensen's was out, and they would have to get it brought in. So my recommendation would be for you to consider and approve, and would be through PEPAL Fund, if I remember correctly in my Randy's conversations, to go ahead and purchase the 25 Premier ProMaster with the high end. It'll have a 60-some inch back end opening that they can lift up and push stuff in and secure it safely in there. And then the other thing that I am requesting, because of safety with the lift on the current food service truck, that we replace that. It's come close to injuring our workers, and after looking at it and having the mechanics look at it and having another person out there that deals with lifts, I strongly recommend that we replace that lift to one that is safer for our workers, and that would be a cost of $10,932.93 from truck equipment.
So is your proposal that the IT department and the food service department would share the van?
Yes.
With the lift?
Yep, that's the only way we were going to move forward after many discussions. It was, and they figured out, sitting down together, they figured out that when they needed it, that it would work really well for those two departments to do that. And we had originally bought the little transit van thinking that would meet the needs of IT and food service. It's not big enough for some of the things that they want to do, plus the fact how much it's out moving the buildings and grounds stuff around and mail and everything. So we've spent a lot of time looking at this and trying to figure out what do we have. And Randy's first question to me, what do we have in the district that we could use prior to even going this far? So we did a complete evaluation of everything we had, where it was, and how it was being used, and what if there was anything we could free up.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I just finally caught on here. There's a lift that's separate from the van that has a lift.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
It didn't get,
Because
it didn't
the
get listed
first
in the agenda correctly.
van needs the lift in the first van isn't safe.
Yes, so in the current food service van, the lift is not safe, so we're
I got it.
replacing that. And then there's the proposal to add the shared vehicle. Because right now, one of the issues that we're also running into is that food service is waiting for the food service truck to get back before they can do some of their additional routes for like our after-school program. So this van helps alleviate that issues, plus also serves the needs of Amy and her department. And after our conversations, there really wasn't a need for each department to have their own vehicle. So this was the economical solution that we came up with.
But they can't share just the one vehicle. There's a gap.
They're sharing
Requiring
the vehicle that you're approving tonight.
Right, but they couldn't just share the first vehicle that
No,
we're
that's
replacing.
a much larger vehicle that handles all of our student meal deliveries throughout the day.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I got the two lifts is where I just went off someplace. So anyway, questions? Other comments? Okay, then is there a motion to approve the purchase of a Tommygate high cycle railgate lift and the, what is this?
This would be the
2025
Chrysler Dodge Jeep.
ProMaster 2500 with liftgate as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Wall Faltus. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Rex.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Karen, Dave, we're going to invite you forward so that you don't have to sit through more things before.
Who doesn't want to enjoy policy review?
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you so very much for coming. This is a friendly group, so as I've shared with you, every year we invite our area legislators to come before the board so that we can share what our chosen legislative priorities are. You've probably seen the myriad of possible priorities that the Iowa Association of the School Board puts forward. We usually vet in June, July, and early August to try to determine what for the Marshtown Community Schools winds up being our top priorities. We then submit those along with all the other school boards to ISB, who this week at the state convention will be coming up with their platform of priorities. But we can first introduce ourselves so you know a little bit about who we are. And I'm going to put my district administrators on the spot too and include them in the introductions. So Karina, do you want to start and we'll work our way around?
My name's Karina Hernandez.
And maybe what your role is outside of the school board?
Okay, so I work for the Marshtown Community College here in town in partnership with the district. So I offer a program that is college and career readiness. So it's a college access program that gives them the opportunity for a scholarship to go to MCC. And I've been on the board this is my last year of my second term, so about 8 years.
So about like halfway through what your tenure will be?
Well, she said it was her second term. She didn't say it was her last term.
True.
Hi, my name is Maria Morales. This is my first term for school board. I work with Iowa Workforce Development. I've been with them for 8 years. My current role is I'm the bureau chief for business engagement. So I lead a team of 20 business engagement consultants and other team members across the state. So we meet with businesses, or they meet with businesses now, and they talk about the different workforce challenges that they have, and we offer a solution, and we look at the different programs and services that we have within the state to see what do we have that they can take advantage at no cost.
Great.
And other duties as assigned.
Right.
Hi, I'm Leah Stanley. I've been on the school board. This is my first term, so last year of my first term. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And I grew up in Marshalltown. My parents still live in Marshalltown. My grandmother still lives in Marshalltown. My grandfather actually was principal of multiple elementary schools in town, and so that's why I wanted to be on the school board in the first place. I have multiple cousins, multiple aunts and uncles that all went through the school district here. And then children as well that either have or are currently going through the district. My day job, I work at Emerson, and I am in charge of the product management team there.
Theron Schutte, superintendent. This is my 9th year back home because I too graduated from the Marshtown Community Schools. This is my 40th year in education, 33rd as a school administrator, whether it was assistant principal, or superintendent. I've lived in Clinton, Iowa for 10 years, was in Boone, Iowa, just outside of Ames for 14, Bendorf, Iowa, back on the Mississippi for 7, and then this is the 9th year in Marshtown. Loved every minute of being back. My wife Connie is a retired nurse, most recently having worked for Iowa River Hospice, had 2 grown children, one back in the Quad Cities and one in Memphis, Tennessee. Sean?
Hi, I'm Sean Heitman. I'm in my 3rd term on the board, I guess. My day job, I'm a lawyer in private practice here in Marshalltown. 2 kids in the district. So that's me.
Oh, I'm the least important person up here. Randy Denham, Board Secretary, also Director of Business Operations. So as Theron lovingly calls me, I'm the money guy for the district. So.
Which makes you very important up here. Yes. I'm Sarah Faltis. I have had 2 kids go through the school district. Our second to go through is now a senior. I'm in administration at McFarland Clinic, and that's about it.
My name's Zach Wall. My day job is I'm a financial advisor, and I own a bunch of real estate also in town. I have 4 kids in the district also. So, you want to do her bio at all, or?
Yeah, we have, so we have for the past 8 years, I think, had student school board representatives or non-voting members of our board, but significantly contribute to keeping the board informed on what's going on, particularly at the high school, and then they actively participate with us in board development activities and things like that. So 2 of the 3 that were here are here still, and then we have 2 other people that aren't here. But Charlie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Charles Gilbertson, go by Charlie too. Both my parents are educators in the district. I'm a senior at high school. I had swim practice, that's why my hair is kind of stuck. I came in late. Yeah, so.
My name is Leke Paul, and I'm a senior at MHS as well. This is my first year of being a student board representative. And yeah, I'm just involved in numerous extracurriculars, and I like to volunteer.
And Shauna, do you want to?
Hello.
Hey, Shauna.
Director of Instruction, and this is my 4th year in this role. I've lived in the community 12 years, born in Marshalltown. Theron was not born in Marshalltown, I was.
That's important.
But I did not graduate from here. Both of my children go to school here. Very, very, I've fallen in love with the community, so if you guys have any questions, if you just need to know where to grab a cup of coffee or go find chocolates, let us know.
I'm Katie Hempstead. I'm the Director of Technology. Got here in 2020, right before fun began.
Before we really needed a lot of technology.
We got really busy real quick.
No regrets.
I'm Matt Kretzinger. I'm the Director of Special Services. It's my 13th year in the district. And so I oversee a variety of programs and services.
I'm Jackie Wyant. I've been in education for 34 years. I was for those previous 9 years, I was principal at the high school. This is my first year as director of junior resources.
Dave, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, you're here.
I'm Dave Glenn, I'm one of the co-principals at Miller, and I'm just waiting for
You're watching.
So again, we thank you very much for being here. I had sent you ahead of time the 4 priority areas that our board had identified. Honestly, I think every year that I've been here, state supplemental aid has been identified as a top priority. Prior to former Governor Branstad's last term in office, it just was pretty much standard every year that schools generally got around a 4% increase. And then when he came for his final run at governorship, he made the statement that essentially he was committed to only providing 2%, and anything beyond that would have to be tied to a new initiative, essentially, or a new program, or what have. I would contend that the, whatever it's been now, decade or more of leadership since that time, and the anywhere from 1% to maybe 3% at the most of increases contributed significantly to the state being in a position of having to make a a significant right-sizing of teacher salaries last year, at least at the beginning teacher stage and the 12-year veteran stage, because Iowa had become significantly discrepant from a lot of our neighboring states and competitors with starting teacher salary. And so hopefully, we can find a better place for annual increases that won't put us in that kind of position again. But you'll hear a lot of advocacy for this particular area, I'm convinced. Teacher recruitment and licensure. Shauna could talk a lot more intelligently about this than I, but I would say that one of the best things that have happened in the recent past has been the TPRA program, where the state has helped, they've paid for essentially paraeducators or support staff to not only continue to be employed and to cover partial payment for that employment, but then also to have their further education paid for so they can become certified teachers. I think we currently, as a result of that program, we have one person that's finished it. We have one person that's finishing it, who happened to be my executive assistant. She'll be finishing here at the end of the first semester. She's student teaching right now, but I think we have 14 people in that pipeline right now.
Like 16 total, 14 that are still working at it.
Yeah, and so that funding, which I believe was largely paid for through federal ESSER funds, is drying up. I think the governor has found and committed funds to finish off this year, but that's been a significantly beneficial and helpful program to fill some of these teaching positions, which have been hard to fill and vacant. So our hopes would be there would be continued efforts to figure out how that program can continue to be supported. It also allows for students to be paid to work as paraprofessionals, which can be an initial gateway towards a future career for them, both in education, to give them a taste of that. Our third priority, which has been a big priority in Marshtown, actually, since before the pandemic, has been youth mental health. I mean, that's a big challenge both for youth and adults, obviously. It's an expensive, proposition, but we pride ourselves in believing that we've got one of the stronger youth mental health programs as it relates to our incorporation of social and emotional learning into the regular curriculum. K through 12, we put a lot of time and effort and have tried to we have partnered with schools from across the country to try to be a lighthouse for how that can be done without it being a standalone program, and how we can help all students and hopefully staff feel strengthened in that regard, so that they can weather the storm of life and, the challenges that come with it in addition to school. And so again, a lot of that funding has been significantly amplified through the pandemic with the ESSER funds, and so there are concerns when those funds are no longer available. How can we continue to increase or to help support those efforts for our young people as well as our adults? And then last but not least would be preschool. Right now the state essentially funds for 4-year-olds half-day preschool, and we feel very strongly that if in some way, shape, or form the state could find a way to support full-day preschool, if at least for those that most need it, those that qualify for free and reduced lunch, it could be a game changer for us. The earlier that we can help support these young people to become positioned better for kindergarten, to be positioned better to become proficient learners, the easier it is going to be to accomplish that and to have kids positioned for success in school. And we truly believe that preschool could be one of those areas, whether it's fully funding full-day preschool for 4-year-olds or figuring out a way to incorporate 3-year-olds as well as 4-year-olds. Right now, 3-year-olds for the most part are those that are identified with special needs and are able to access it at age 3. But one of the challenges for us would be space. Where would we put these programs if we had it? But we're willing to deal with that problem if we can, be fortunate enough to have full-day preschool covered as far as the funding goes for that. So those are our top priorities. I know that anyone on the board or within our team is willing to answer any questions, but mainly we just want to learn a little bit more about you and what, going into your first legislative session, what are some of your hopes and dreams for what this first session will bring?
Great. Well, thanks all of you for serving in this way. Such an important and sometimes thankless role doing school board. So appreciate you having us. I'm Kara Warmy, so just elected for Senate District 26. So that's all of Marshall County, then the rural parts of Story County, basically a bite out for Ames city limits. And I have 2 daughters in 7th and 9th grade in public school in Story County, and went through public school myself. I'm a transplant to Iowa, so my dad was in the Navy in San Diego. I grew up in public school in California, and youth is really a focus for me in choosing to run and in thinking about heading to the Capitol. My day job now is with YSS, so I have oversight for all the YSS locations, including the one here in Marshalltown. We are big on youth voice and youth empowerment, so I love that you have youth representatives on your board. Very cool. I know when we have them sit on our boards as well. I appreciate you letting us start late because I had a YSS board meeting tonight, and the comments and questions that young people bring bring a different voice. I'm sure you see that too, and we love that. And YSS tries to do that at a state level as well. We have the state contract for AMP, which brings youth voices into the legislative level across the state. So I have so many questions, but I know tomorrow we're going to do some touring, and so I'll save some of those. I think I have some experience within schools beyond as a parent. I did get a sub license after COVID and sub in 2 school districts in Story County. And I was surprised and disappointed how long it took to get a sub license. So I'm curious kind of where that is now. And how much kind of out-of-pocket expense and trouble that was when subs were really in need. Certainly see a lot of the mental health needs in schools, both there as a substitute and a parent and a volunteer, and then through the work that we do at YSS. So love seeing mental health high on your list. I agree, that's something we need to certainly continue to focus on and figure out the right solutions to that. Serve as a school-based mentor weekly in schools, and so have a big passion for prevention, knowing how much less expensive that is when we can get ahead of things, and just the shortage of providers that are out there for those higher level needs. So as we think, one of my priorities is thinking about the opioid settlement funds that are specifically out there for needs related to substance abuse, which is a big problem that usually overlaps with mental health. And so those are external funds coming into our state for the next 18 years. What are things we can do to get those into communities to help with whether it's prevention, early intervention, or treatment? So those were tied up last year and have not been deployed, the state funds, just the county ones. And so that's a priority for me because it's an additional funding source that we don't have to take out of anybody's pocket, but we can use to try to help some of these needs. And I know as a new person, I'll be just doing a lot of learning, listening, asking questions, seeing what we've already tried, hearing from you guys what you've already tried, and also hearing that at the Capitol. So looking forward to partnering with you for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Kara. I appreciate being back in the Marshalltown Community School District building after having a lot of good meetings with many of you and reconnecting with friends and meeting new people as well. So I appreciate that. Grew up here in Marshalltown. My mom is a reading teacher at Hoagland Elementary here in Marshalltown, and so really thankful to stay connected after attending Marshalltown Community College, and before that Marshalltown High School with Principal Wyatt. And so reconnecting with good people here. really important to me. I was just connecting with a student and a lot of people I met knocking on doors on the campaign trail, and he was working with some of the new technology on his Chromebook to catch up in math, and so it was really good to see the new technology that's being deployed by the district. But he also had quite a few missing assignments, and so helping him and his parents figure out how to navigate those new computer systems. It was difficult for his family, who's housing insecure, and navigating those challenges with them. So I appreciate the dedication that you guys put in, that the team that you've put together puts in to make sure our students have a great education, and I appreciate you guys bringing these concerns forward. Do you guys have any questions for us at this time?
Well, I want to thank both of you for also committing. I think I share with the board through our newsletter that you've committed most of the morning tomorrow to take a tour of the schools and learn a little bit about some of the things that are great things that are happening at Marshtown. So we'll visit Woodbury first thing in the morning. So they'll start off with a morning meeting, which all of you guys have experienced before, and then we'll head over to Lenahan, which is one of a handful of community science or computer science is elementary school, so it was identified a number of years ago as a model school in the state for integration of computer science within the curriculum or across the curriculum. And then we'll head over to Marshtown High School and have you see some pretty phenomenal renovations that we've had recently. And if we're lucky, maybe we'll see a little virtual reality in science or math, but I don't know. So maybe not.
Looking forward to it.
So, any questions that anyone has? I'm super hopeful that between the two of you that hopefully one of you will land on the education committee. Obviously Sue was on there in the recent past, but both Sue and Senator Edler were strong proponents of education, and I really appreciated, even when we sometimes had to agree to disagree, how that could be done professionally and, you know, move forward. And then also I really appreciated the fact that each of them reached out regularly if they had questions. You know, what does this mean for Marshalltown? And quite honestly, sometimes it means something different for Marshalltown than some other places, just because of the unique populations we serve and that sort of thing. And I think that's one of the challenges with Iowa legislature, is that so many legislators or communities don't have the same challenges as what we experience with very large, diverse population, immigrant population. And so, you know, if you haven't lived it or you don't know it, it's sometimes hard to visualize it. And so that's why I'm very appreciative of your willingness to go on the tour tomorrow to get a taste of what Marshtown Schools is.
Questions, comments from any board members?
Not yet.
Oh, good luck.
Well,
Thank you
feel
for
free to reach out
coming out.
individually if you have questions or input for us.
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you bright and early tomorrow.
Okay.
See you guys tomorrow. Thank you.
Policies.
Yes. So we had two policies coming back for a first reading. 902.02 news conferences and interviews, and 902.03 news releases. These were presented at the last meeting. There haven't been any further changes. I would recommend board approval and waive the second reading.
Any questions? Is there a motion to amend 90202 and 90203 and waive the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Baltus Wall, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Then I had initial review policies, 902.4 releases to news media board matters. There's no no changes recommended, so we recommend that be marked as reviewed. The same with 902.5, duplicated or printed materials. Again, no changes recommended, so mark as reviewed. And 903.1, school community groups. Again, no changes, recommend be marked as reviewed. Questions? Okay, and we'll mark them as reviewed. And now it's time for the annual meeting.
Yeah. So as part of the annual meeting is the formal approval, presentation of the annual settlement of our depository balances as of June 30th. If you'll recall, I did present the June 30th fiscal year 24 financials a couple months back after we had completed our year-end report. So here in front of you tonight is the formal action to approve the depository balances as dictated per Iowa Code Section 279.33. You'll see on the document in the agenda, our cash balances as of June 30th were $53.8 million. Just for comparison purposes, we were at 49.4 for fiscal year 23. So, if there's no other questions, then I will just need a motion to approve those.
Is there a motion to approve the fiscal year 24 treasurer's annual settlement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Wall, Faltis. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Then we need to appoint our secretary treasurer, school attorney, and official publication. So the recommendation is to appoint Randy Denham as board secretary treasurer for the 24-25 school year, to appoint Allers and Cooney PC as legal counsel, and to designate the Marshtown Times-Republican as the official newspaper for district publications and notices. Can we do that in one motion, Randy? So is there a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second.
Faltis, Hernandez? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries 6-0. And then, do I have to swear you in, Randy?
You do have to swear me in. Do I have to accept?
Do I have to stand up?
We can make it formal, that's fine. Abby's not here to take a picture, I guess.
Exciting.
I know.
Thank you.
Shauna's great back.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Secretary Treasurer in the Marshtown Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you. With that said, I'm in charge now. Sure. No. So at this time, as part of our annual meeting items is to elect a board president for the upcoming year. So at this time, I will open the floor for any nominations for board president for the 24-25 year.
I move to elect Sean Heitman as the board
To
president.
let Sean Heitman be board president.
Amen.
Hey, is that a second? Okay, no other nominations on the floor. I have a first and a second for Sean to let Sean be board president for the 24-25 year. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. You will abstain.
abstain.
Okay, motion carries. Sean, we'll let Sean be board president for the 24-25 school year. Motion
I heard
passes.
elect. I heard elect.
I heard a lot, I don't know, whatever.
My shoe's on the other foot now. Here we go.
Elect, right?
Yep.
Voluntold.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Board President in Marshtown Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
I do.
All right. It's official.
Welcome back, Mr. President.
Oh, thank you so much.
That was a close one.
Yeah. And the next order of business is the election of the board vice president. And so we will open the floor for nominations for board vice president.
I nominate Sarah Faltis.
have a motion and a second to appoint Sarah Faltis as Board Vice President. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Any abstentions?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with one abstention. Now I have to swear.
You have to
Okay,
swear in,
so
yeah.
I gotta swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Vice President in the Marshalltown Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's the end of the annual meeting. We already had our legislative discussion. Abby's not here, so nothing from communications this evening. Reminders, Leah, you have initial review policies for the December 2nd meeting. Hoagland will be presenting, and if I remember correctly, we have a board visit at Hoagland tomorrow afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. And is December, is that, we're doing the work session with, is that the first meeting in December?
Yes. December 2nd, Eric Ream from 5 to 6, and then
And the
regular
board meeting after,
will start
yep,
at 6.
okay.
That'll probably be a relatively short meeting, just because we've got a short period of time to prep for the next meeting with the holiday next week and stuff, so.
And meetings this week.
Yeah, we have ISB convention, we've got the UN banquet, we've got some people that may be attending the Supreme Court thing tomorrow night. It's a busy week. Charlie, are you gonna ride with me for the convention on Thursday?
I think.
I was a no.
I don't know, probably yes.
Okay.
Probably, yes, definitely.
Yes.
If you are, you need to be here, but preferably 6:15 a.m. and then we want to hit the road no later than 6:30 Thursday.
Sounds great.
Okay, committee reports. I know Acer met this morning. Darren, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we had a good meeting, well attended, some new faces. The county was a little disappointed with a recent non-renewal of the lost funds. And so they talked about hopefully doing a better job of educating the public as to the importance of those funds for the county effort. It equates to about, I think it was $1.6 or $1.7 million
in their budget,
by
they said.
not getting it renewed. So they're probably going to run a special election in March. Matt Schmidt was here, the new provost for the college. I think it was his second meeting that he's attended. He talked about how next spring they're going to embark on the last phase of their renovations and construction projects, which will be largely the science labs being renovated at Marshalltown Community College. Carol Webb was there for her first meeting from the city. So she talked about upcoming projects with starting the phased Main Street project now that State Street's finishing up, Sixth Street Bridge, the Water Plaza, the bike trails that are connected to the Water Plaza, and then the hopes that they get that big grant application they applied for so they can finish off the bike trail up to Steamboat Rock. John Hall was there from the chamber, and so he had talked about the recent addition of the economic development position with the chamber, and then also that they've been working closely with Marshtown's largest employers on surveying based on business retention and expansion. Then he also talked a lot about all the big meets that we got, or things going on with the girls' swim meet, just state swim meet just finishing up, East Sports being this week. And it's just a lot of information.
There's a lot of information, yes. Yeah. Did internal communications meet last Friday?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so, because I forgot to join the meeting, so. Nah, you didn't.
Yeah, I don't know that there was a lot that was, I know there was a feeling that we maybe didn't need to meet, but we met anyway.
I remember a few things, and I will list them very quickly. They asked about the special education director position and when we'll be posting that, which is soon. They asked about AI policy and the PD that we have coming up in January, which we will be, like a short amount of time, like an hour and a half, we'll be working through some AI strategies with teachers to use to just kind of increase their efficiency, and then also just safety in alignment to FERPA and the policy that you've all approved.
Strategic plan.
The
Yes,
strategic plan. Yep, Darren's been working hard at that. And we'll continue working as stakeholders.
Yeah, and extra time. That was the last thing.
Yes, we ended the additional time, that teacher contracted time, and then Online Academy will open up, and we're going to try and open it up even earlier this summer for teachers to start off in June versus typically we open it up July 1st for them to begin. So I think that was it.
That's it. Thank you, Shauna. Any other committee meetings, committee reports?
SIAC met.
Okay.
Well, I was part of SIAC and Equity, and both went over the luau plan. So I got to hear it twice and give input on it twice. And then with the SIAC, we also had Ellie present about the attendance policy. And then Shauna also presented what same thing that she presented for the board for Bobcat University. So I think that was for SIAC.
Yeah, we talked about that last meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
You did a good job. You did.
Okay, sorry. Then equity? Did you talk about equity last week?
We did not.
Okay.
We did not.
So equity, again, the luau plan, and then the infographics, right, on the diversity, those pages that you, I have the agenda up, so it's not something that I remember. One more thing, what else do we talk about? Was it professional development for staff?
Right.
Mhm.
So Val Corson is preparing a student video about their experiences in Marshtown Community School District and how the impact of the programming and all of the things that teachers do in particular to make them feel welcome in the classroom and welcome in the school and engaging them in education. So she's almost done with it, I believe.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
All right. Well, anything for any future meeting agendas that we'd like to discuss?
I do. So now that the Miller project has been approved, there's questions up in the air when the process will start as far as planning and so I don't know, maybe just an update of what the timeline would be or
Sure.
just informational, not really, nothing set in stone.
Yeah, and that, so we're waiting for a kickoff meeting to be set up
Okay.
by Envision and Boyd Jones, so we can talk with them once that's happened about when an appropriate time for them to come forward, whether it's Pete or Envision or both to the board. I just don't know because we've been just kind of waiting to see. I know that they've been pretty forthcoming in saying 5% of the design is done, so it's going to take a good part of a year to complete that. So, but the two projects that we'll be embarking on as we're doing that will be the Franklin Field project, which we should be able to bring some information to you hopefully in December, because we'd like to be in a position to go out to bid by the end of January or February for at least parts of that project, the field, the track. The one piece that's kind of been a later thing has been figuring out for the bleachers, the grandstand type thing, so we might have to do that separately. And then the other part, Amy will be coming forward at some point to make a proposal regarding intercom, bells, audio, that sort of thing for the elementary school. So
I think with that also, it's the plan for students as construction's gonna be happening, so maybe just I don't know, if there's a plan for that.
That'll be way down the road.
Way down the road, okay.
Yeah, it's a 3 to 4 year project,
Okay.
and so.
There's just a lot of questions coming up.
Yeah.
There are, yep.
Yeah, a lot of questions about that in the community.
Yep.
I just hate answering, I don't know.
I don't know.
For next year's 7th and 8th graders, they will be at number.
Yeah, okay,
Learning will be.
as
The same.
usual.
Similar to what it looks like this year.
Okay.
Okay.
But better.
But better.
Thank you, yep, I think that's all I have.
Okay, any other items? Then, what have we done to improve education for the students in Marshalltown this evening?
I really enjoyed how excited the parents were about just learning about culture and how they can help their children be better students just by basic practices in the home.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I think that could be a game changer for our community moving forward.
The one thing I wish I asked is how are we able to engage with those parents to get them to do this program?
Tatiana Collins is amazing. So you kind of sense the relationship she's built with families. And starting with this group will, I think it'll be very easy to expand because this group will then be advocates to others to get them involved.
So as they come in the Welcome Center, is she advocating this program, or how is this?
She's connected through, so she's actually stationed over at the high school.
Okay.
Yep.
But when I get up there, we both push the tag. Yeah, I don't think it's just Tatiana. Yeah. Well, and Chip, who was there too. She's also developed relationships with families through the Welcome Center and helping families as they get registered. And she checks back in on them as they're getting settled. So there's a kind of a partnership that you can see that's kind of naturally or authentically bonded. The parents with the two of them, and there's a lot of trust.
And so Tatiana serves as the migrant liaison
Okay.
at the high school, and then she also teaches one ELL level 1 class. So there's 4 different sections of sheltered English classes for students that are in the learning English, their English language development. So she has that. She's very passionate about helping them to access different resources in the community. And with the influx of the newcomers we've seen over the last couple of years, there's a lot of challenges for those who are just settling into our community and finding out. Like I thought it was amazing that she helped them to get them all a library card. It was very important on that reading piece with their children at whatever level. And then again, I'm going to say Chit is an amazing MHS graduate. She's doing a fabulous job of going out to homes of all different nationalities, ethnicities, languages, and helping them connect to the resources in our community too. So she's been a great addition to the Welcome Center.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Well, there were significant financial commitments made.
Spend a lot of money on the baseball and softball complex.
Baseball, softball, change orders for the CTE.
Okay. We're gonna take about 5 minutes to let everybody get out of here, and then we'll have a couple of closed sessions. Not everybody. Almost everybody.